Good morning, everybody. It's Dr. Stephen Prendeville, and I'm here again to address questions that I commonly get or I receive regarding facial rejuvenation. And people ask a lot, understandably, about fat transfer. And what fat transfer is essentially taking fat cells, usually from your abdomen, and transferring them to other areas of your body, usually to your face, to restore facial volume. And the purpose of doing this is to, again, rejuvenate the cheek area, sometimes areas in the lower face, but to add volume that we tend to lose over time. In other words, not only do we tend to have a descent of soft tissues, we also have a deflation. And so it can work well in certain circumstances. My general preference for adding facial volume is a product called Sculptra, which is made out of L-polylactic acid. What it does is it's injected sequentially and incrementally. In other words, we do it over 2 to 3 sessions, and it stimulates collagen production. And the way I describe it to patients is it's like fertilizer for collagen production in the face, and it does add volume in a nice way. But the real question I have, or that I ask my patients, is that really the change that you want to have, just to add facial volume? In certain circumstances, the answer is yes, but for the average facial rejuvenation patient, in other words, somebody over 50, what we have is descent and deflation of the midface, formation of jowls, and then changes in the neck. And those are things that need to be addressed with what's called a deep plane facelift, which is essentially a repositioning procedure. So when I tell patients, when you do this in front of the mirror, what you're doing is you're manipulating the SMAS layer. The SMAS layer sits underneath the skin, but generally on top of the facial muscles. And repositioning it will help to lift the soft tissues, and actually, if it's done correctly, to revolumize your face. Sometimes, in addition to that, facial volume, like with fat or with Sculptra, is also required, but for most of my patients, it isn't. So, just so you know. So, the benefits and downsides of fat, I will say, a lot of people feel very drawn to it because it's your own fat cells, and I understand that. However, you're taking a fat cell from an area that's genetically programmed to be a storage unit, and you're putting it into an area of the body that doesn't normally store fat. Okay, so in other words, if you have fat that stays in place, and actually, let's say you gain weight, and those fat cells can expand in a way that you're not happy with. That's not a really common thing to happen, but it can happen. And so I tend to think Sculptra is more reliable, okay, and more predictable in what it does. And that's why it's my go-to volumizer. Now, not everybody agrees with me, but that's my take, and I think it's a rational approach to how to address these things. The main thing to ask yourself when you're considering facial rejuvenation is what bothers you? What are the specific things that bother you? And then go and let your surgeon know. And then he or she will come up with a plan that will be useful for you and hopefully make sense to you. I hope you find this helpful. Hope you have a great week. Thank you.